Again, my boundaries are known to her, and I don't put up with anything I don't like. She is super cool, but 21 years old. I'm 31. I've been cheated on, so I don't trust women in general. How can I trust again?
What the fuck?
That's very difficult to
You know what? We
answer,
can.
my boy.
You want to go around the table, have the girls answer this one? See
Sure.
what their answers are?
Sure.
All right. How should he go about this? He's 31 years old. He's with a 21-year-old, but he's been cheated on before, and he doesn't trust women in general. How should he go about this?
Like, I just say you shouldn't put your problems on everyone. You know, you should give her a chance. Just see what her vibe is like. You know, how she acts, how she carries herself. You know,
Okay.
because trust comes with time. So you have to give her time to see, you know, how it works for you. You know,
All right.
That's
How
the
long should he
thing.
give her time for?
I'll say at least like 5 to 6 months because trust builds over time. It doesn't build quickly.
All right.
Imagine what it is.
Okay. What about you?
You.
Oh, me,
Yeah.
my fault.
Yeah.
I just feel like
March.
you can't compare. Sorry. You can't compare all your past situations to your current situation. Like, you never know who's going to be a different person or how they're going to treat you. So, like she said, give them time, like, see how it goes for, like, maybe a couple months or so.
Okay.
And then see how you feel.
Okay. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, it varies, I would say. As far as how can I trust again, you kind of have to have a clean slate, but with each partner, but you obviously learn from experience. So don't do the things that, perhaps as a man that, or allow certain things that could have put you in that position. Also, I think that the fact that she's a lot younger does help the dynamic because, there seems to be like a pretty good age gap there. And that may be a different situation overall.
Okay. What about you?
You can't really put a stigma on everybody due to what you went through in your past.
Okay.
But you can also be on the lookout for those behavioral patterns and things like that. So it's also about learning the person that you're talking to as well. You can't expect to learn somebody in like 3 months. That's not enough time.
Okay.
How long should they wait?
I'll say at least 6 months to really get to know a person. I honestly didn't really know my husband until we moved in together.
I mean, you
to
never
be
really
honest. You
stop
never really
knowing.
know anybody until you move in with them.
Or you
deal
never
with
really know them at all,
on a
though.
day-to-day
How long
basis.
were you guys together before you guys got married?
A year,
A year? And then how long did you guys live together before you guys got married then?
6 months.
6 months? Okay.
Yeah.
So year total, 6 months living together. All right. What about you? What do you think you should do?
Well, I think he should communicate to her about this situation. And
What
if
should you say specifically?
well, if she says that she doesn't feel like she's comfortable not cheating, then I mean it's obvious. So I think that he should say what happened, and if she does the same thing, then I guess that's what she wanted.
So tell her what happened to me in the past,
Yeah.
so she can do it
No.
again.
No, that's what I was getting to say. Because if you tell certain people about your past, they just learn how to not get caught.
But that's the wrong people then.
It is, but you never know.
You're gonna find out
You
eventually.
never know. Because
Wait, hold
somebody
on. I
could
want to
be-
get her opinion before it's but then you guys can challenge. Just so I understand this correctly, communicate what happened to you in the past.
Yeah,
And-
you tell her that you were cheated on, and then you don't trust women, and yeah.
That is so bad. Oh my god.
That's
Okay.
That nigga's gonna die.
So tell her
Well,
that
if she's the wrong
communicate
one,
and
yeah.
let her know that you don't trust women in general.
No, not trust women in general. Just that you've been hurt before.
You just said a second ago, don't trust women.
Well, you've been hurt before. Well, you could say that you've been hurt before, and then he just needs some time to be able to trust her.
There's a term for this advice.
Okay.
Dog shit advice.
Dog shit advice.
Well, then he should go to
Let me ask you a question. Do you think a woman is more likely to find a man attractive after saying this or less attractive?
Depends on the woman.
In general,
It does depend.
do you think it would make the man less attractive or more attractive if he communicated to her that he's hurt and he's been hurt before by a woman and cheating, etc.?
It's hard for me to answer this question. I think it depends on the woman, as I said.
Yeah, it
I'm
does.
curious to know
does,
how
yeah.
you would feel about it. How would you feel?
How would you feel about it?
Well, then I would try my best to prove that I wouldn't hurt him.
You wouldn't lose a little bit of respect for him?
No.
At all?
No.
Interesting.
That's her and her feelings, so you can't.
How
really
many of
judge
you,
her.
raise of hands, would lose respect for your man if he admitted that to you? Realistically speaking, keep it 1,000. One, only one of you.
Because I don't want to judge him by that.
No, I can honestly speak from personal
They're saying
experience.
that now, but I'm
Yeah.
telling you
No,
right
no,
now,
no.
Yeah.
in
I
this
can-
scenario,
I've
I'm telling you right now, you're gonna feel the type of way. It's like
No,
this
because
nigga weak.
I can only speak from what I went through. And
Mike.
like I said, the person that I'm dealing with right now, my husband,
Mhm.
he's admitted that to me, and I understood what he went through. Now, that doesn't mean that he was a weak behind man. You feel me? It just mean that, hey, this person got one up on him.
And this is why you didn't post him. All right,
Yep.
moving on.
Okay, that is not why, because I post him on a daily on my story. I post him on a
You're
daily.
about to trigger her
Stories
again.
I'm not
disappear.
triggered. I'm just saying what's
Post-
facts and what's not.
Stories
Yeah.
disappear.
So
But
only one
highlights
girl
don't.
admitted it.
I've also had
Go ahead.
like I've had this happen in my relationship. He had a previous partner that
Cheat on him.
did cheat on him, and in the beginning, he did share like he shared it with me in a way that I almost felt bad for him.
Okay.
And it's like, now when we talk about it, which we don't, but when it does come up, the topic of cheating, I just know it's a boundary and that's it. There doesn't need to be all the extra. And I don't want him to tell me, oh, I was so hurt. I couldn't, and it sounds fucked up. It sounds fucked up for me to say that, because it's not that I don't care about his feelings, but I don't want my man crying to me.
Yeah.
About what happened to him. Like we can talk about it. And I used to, it kind of like, again, it sounds fucked up, but at the reality, like really respecting my man, I just don't want to hear him cry, and I don't want to have to feel like I have to fix your days, again, it sounds bad, but at the end of the day, the dynamic, let me finish. The dynamic is that, whether you realize it or not, that's kind of what it ends up being. It's not necessarily a conscious thing.
Like I said, it's kind of different for me and everybody else's opinions. Is because
We're
I grew
just
up
sharing
with,
our ideas.
I'm not disagreeing with you. Did I
Yeah.
say that? I didn't say you were wrong for feeling how you feel. I'm speaking on my feelings and why I think the way I think is because I grew up with my brothers. Yes, I have sisters. Mind you, I have over 13 siblings. Majority of them are females, but I grew up with my brother. So I understand both sides of each individual, is what I'm saying. So my point is different from
But do
anybody
you know?
else's on this.
Okay.
All right, cool.
I didn't grow up around my sisters. I grew up around my brothers. So and my brother was one of my best friends growing up. So that's why I empathize, with both sides. I understand my side as a female, and I understand his side because he dealt with different things growing up with different females. So I understand.
All right.
Interesting point, because a lot of you guys said that
We got two more.
it doesn't. Okay. All right, that's fine. I'll come back to it. Go ahead.
What did you tell him to do from the post? What did you tell him to do? He's 30. He's 31. She's 21, and he's been hurt in the past.
I would say I'd agree with her with the communication, but you did make a good point how people do tend to like learn from I guess other people's
Experience,
mistakes,
yeah.
like they'll keep in the back of their mind. But I'd say like a relationship is all about risk, so if you're willing to really just like you're just gonna have to honestly just take that step. I mean, I understand where you're coming from too, where you say you don't want your man to cry to you. Like, like you can communicate about it, talk to you, but not all the time wanting to. And I get that.
Right.
But like I said, just risk. Like you're really just gonna have to
Every day is risky. I mean, everything is risky. I know what you're saying.
All right.
yeah.
For you?
See.
If you believe your judgment is correct and adequate, then you should give her the benefit of the doubt and have faith in her because I mean naturally if you like her there's a reason why you like her. However, if you're not confident enough in becoming serious with her, then I would recommend going with a woman that's a bit older because there's definitely a mental differentiation between you two, being 31, 21. The girl, she's, just, barely legal to drink, and the guy, he more than likely you have yourself set up. So, I mean, that's everything you have to take into consideration. But if you really believe she's the type of individual you want to have around, then you know what? Just take that risk.
All right. I just had a few questions based on because she said that you should communicate that you don't trust women and kind of go from there. What is bigger treachery? A man cheating on a woman or a woman cheating on a man?
Oh,
Start with you.
It hurts just as bad.
What's
for
worse
both.
though?
If
I
you had,
think-
if you had to choose,
They both suck. I mean,
okay, just choose one that's more painful. You think for which gender?
I believe it's more painful for the female because we have psychological differences.
Okay. So you think it's worse if the man cheats on her?
Yeah, because we
Okay.
tend to feel worse about it.
That's fine. What about you? What's a bigger form of treachery? A man cheating on a woman or a woman cheating on a man?
I'd say honestly a woman because I feel like men cheating is like normalized now. It's just something that
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised about.
What do you think?
I agree with her.
It's worse when female. Oh, it's worse when a man cheats on a woman.
Mhm.
Okay. What about you?
Honestly, I feel like women because we're more emotional.
It's worse when a woman cheats.
No.
Oh, worse when a man cheats.
When a man cheats because we're more emotional. We feel it more emotional. A man feel it logically. I feel
Okay.
like. Well, both ways.
What about you?
the phrase. Could you repeat the phrasing of the question?
What is a bigger betrayal or more treacherous? A woman cheating on a man or a man cheating on a woman?
A woman cheating on a man.
What about you?
A man cheating on a woman.
Okay. So it's worse. Okay. What about you?
Man cheating on a woman
Okay.
because women become weak.
Interesting. Now, I'm going to ask the second question. Who loses more respect for being cheated on? A man or a woman? Start with you.
Who loses more respect?
Yes, for being cheated on. A man or a woman?
Like, do the woman lose more respect for the man?
Yes, like who would lose? Okay, just say like if your man cheated on you, would you lose more respect for him, or would
No,
if
I mean
he
society.
cheated
Like
on
his
you,
friends,
In
his
society.
would you
friends.
lose more
I
respect?
mean
feel
in
like
society.
men would lose more respect for women because men wouldn't expect you to go do what they did to you. That's
Okay,
just
so the
what
man
it
would
is.
lose more
Yeah.
respect.
Mhm.
Okay, so that contradicts what you said before. Okay,
That's fine.
what about you? Who loses more status or respect by being cheated on? A man or a woman?
I feel like a woman loses more respect because I feel like we put more of our information out there as opposed to a man. Like if he gets cheated on, no one's really gonna know about it. But if a
No,
woman,
but if it were to be public, what's worse?
I would still say a woman because I
Really?
feel like that's
Okay.
kind of embarrassing.
Okay. What about you,
Man.
man? Okay.
It's women because we're expected to carry ourselves to high standards and have morals. So
So you think the woman would be more embarrassed for having a cheating guy, or the guy being more embarrassed?
the guy being more.
Oh, okay.
embarrassed, yeah.
So the man loses more respect.
Yeah.
So why you
Okay.
say I'm contradicting?
No, because you said
You did.
well, we all said it. So we all
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
all
we're
y'all-
all
ourselves.
contradicting. Don't
Yeah,
just try
all-
to come for me, Myra.
He's not just coming for you.
I don't need the attitude, please. Okay, I really don't need the attitude. So yeah, because on one end you're saying that it's bigger treachery if a man cheats on a woman, but then some of you guys are saying that on the flip side, the man loses more respect if he's cheated on. See the contradiction? That's what I mean.
I was going off
So you're
emotions.
the opposite way. Okay, what about you, Miss Lithuania? Who loses more status for being cheated on, a man or a woman?
It's embarrassing to have a man like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but who loses more status in general, the man or the woman?
General, not just your standpoint, but who generally.
For me, or like generally, like society, or like if I,
Yes, society in general, yes. And then you can give your personal one if you want after.
well, then I cannot answer for society. Then why would I answer for society? I cannot only answer for myself.
Oh my god.
Bruv. Are you serious?
I mean, that's a narcissistic quality.
Yeah.
That like which is very interesting because this is like the 5th time now that she's not been able to answer a question in general. So you can only put it on herself, which is actually a trait of a narcissist. But hey, I'm
And
just
you are in one?
no.
Of course, you would say no.
What narcissistic traits have I exuded?
You really love to show power
I
and
have a-
dominance.
He kind of
I have a
is.
show to run.
Oh, yeah.
There's got to be some
but-
semblance of order and
but
authority
it's
for the
way
show
that
to
you
run
say
correctly,
things.
right?
It's the way that you say things.
I mean, you date men with power.
Well, I don't date men that don't respect women.
Oh, that's a whole other thing.
Wouldn't it be fair to say that as a man, being a leader and having some level of authority is the utmost respect for a woman because you're putting her in a protected provision under your leadership?
Yes, but the way that you're controlling and saying things are not nice.
It's how you're saying it,
Well,
Myron.
we're not on a date. We're on a podcast where there's got to be an open
Yeah.
discussion that's mediated to a degree where people are able to speak in an open forum and articulate their points without necessarily being interrupted.
No, that's what you think.
I mean, how else would you conduct the podcast with a panel of people?
I just think that you're being disrespectful towards the things that you say.
How am I being
That's it.
disrespectful?
Well, just the things that you say. And
Can you give me an example?
Yes, the
Go
way
ahead.
that you're calling me a narcissist without having a medical diagnosis presented.
I mean, that's a narcissistic trait, an inability to be
okay.
empathetic.
Gotcha. Well, then I have nothing else to say.
Is that, I mean, you want me to call it solipsism? It's basically the same exact thing.
Well, you have to be one to see one, right?
I wouldn't say that. I don't have to be a retard to see say someone's a retard.
Okay.
So that's not calling you a retard, but I'm giving you an example. Like, that's a trait of a narcissist, is that you've had a very difficult time being able to answer things outside of your own purview and your own perception. That is a narcissistic trait. Ask any psychiatrist, they will tell you that's a narcissistic trait.
Triggered.
So, I mean, I'm just telling you something that I didn't say you're like a full-on narcissist, but that is a narcissistic trait.
Right, she is.
Okay, thank you then.
So, but I'm still trying to figure out how I'm being disrespectful by stating something that's
No,
For-
you're not. I'm just delusional, right?
Right.
I'm giving you a chance to like explain to me how I'm being disrespectful. I'm saying something that's fairly objectively true here.
It's the way that you articulate your sentences. You're putting a woman down without you
How have I
putting
done that?
actually a woman down. It's
How have
like
I done that?
behind the lines that what you're saying.
How
It's-
have I done that in particular?
It's how you're saying it.
Just stop. How have I done that in particular?
I agree with your colleague here.
That's how I said it?
That's how you say it. It's how you say things. I understand what you're trying to do, but it's how you say things.
Because I speak directly and concisely?
Yeah, it's the way that you articulate and the words that you pick is not really nice, and the way that you insult girls.
How'd I insult any of the girls
Well,
here?
it's the girl next to you.
How'd I insult her?
I mean,
Oh.
she's stupid though.
Huh?
How did I how did I
Like
insult
y'all
her?
are so fucking rude on this show.
I know.
Like,
How did
y'all?
I'm
oh
asking
my
though,
God,
like how
hate
did
all you
how did I
bitches.
insult her?
Hate all you.
So you didn't?
I didn't insult her at all.
Okay.
Come on, I'm
Yeah, I
keep
mean,
up
if-
it. I'm dumb.
If I did,
But y'all ain't got shit.
I didn't
None
call
of
you dumb.
y'all.
I didn't call you dumb.
He didn't. call
Um,
you dumb.
No, he did back
Okay.
there. Aaron.
All right. So I'm
The
asking
bald
you,
headed ass bitch.
how did I insult
Nappy
her?
headed ass
Can you
beard.
please stop interrupting? How did I insult her?
I don't have a paper and a notes that I'm taking, but I saw how she felt.
Well, if you're going to make a claim, then you need to be able to back it up, correct?
I'm not writing exactly what you're saying, but
Oh.
I just see how a person is feeling.
Oh, so feelings now.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
My thing is like, if you're going to make an accusation like, oh, you're being disrespectful, you're putting women down, blah, blah, blah. I don't think I've really said anything that's been putting women down or being disrespectful, whatever. I've been fairly objective and factual in my assessment on saying things.
Right. Okay.
I mean, just because it's direct and concise doesn't necessarily mean that it's rude. It's just a very matter-of-fact way of speaking. Facts don't necessarily care about your feelings. I can't control how you respond to me giving you an objective fact.
Exactly.
So whose fault is that?
Well, you calling me narcissist, I think
That's a
an
narcissistic
insult.
trait, to not be able to empathize with others.
I think that's an insult. How do I not empathize? How do I do that? How do I not empathize with others?
I've asked you several questions
Just
throughout
because
the
I don't
course.
talk about what society thinks? Is this
Throughout
how
the
you-
course of this discussion, I've asked you several questions, and I've prefaced it with "in general," and you were unable to answer it, and you continuously went back. I can only answer for myself. I can only answer for myself. I don't understand or care or know how other things go. Like, that is a narcissistic trait. That's a fact. Any clinical psychiatrist will tell you, like, oh, an inability to empathize with others.
I don't think you have the degree to diagnose me.
I'm not diagnosing you. I'm
Oh,
saying that
then-
that's a narcissistic trait.
Okay, good.
Okay. Can we get your response, love?
No, well, hold on. Because, like, my thing is, like, because this is the thing. I'll say something. Women don't like the way it makes them feel, and then they'll make some, claim that isn't true.
No, I
So-
just feel
no,
like
no,
it's
stop,
the
stop
way you
interrupting.
come on.
No, stop interrupting. I'm not going to let
That's
you
exactly the
make a claim that isn't true without me challenging you on it. Stand on it. Tell me how I was disrespectful or I did whatever you're trying to claim. You can't.
Yep.
You just dislike the fact that I'm being objective and concise. can't get around what I'm trying to say here, and you're like, oh well, you're put down women. Am I really putting women down? Is it my fault if you can't necessarily articulate yourself or have a stance that can stand up to what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right. Actually,
I mean, like,
Yeah.
don't blame your lack of preparation, right, or lack of whatever it may be, awareness or whatever on me. Like, I'm just telling you, hey, this is what it is. You're actually incorrect. Oh, my feelings. You're putting me down. Am I really putting you down? We're having a discussion here.
well, I'm not claiming that you have narcissistic traits. You are, so that's not nice of you to say. That's what I'm just saying. That's it.
Girl, Miami, men in Miami.
Yeah,
It's just
exactly.
men in
I
Miami.
am.
Stop
I
fucking-
am.
That's just how they built. That's
I
just how their
am really
parents built them.
shocked to see what it's like.
But
here.
guys, we've literally been sitting here for 2 hours and 40 minutes giving our opinions, some of them speaking down on men, and we're just listening to each other. I don't think one of the things that we prefaced the podcast was let's not take anything personal.
Yeah.
Opinions are gonna be said. I've heard some things I don't
Yeah,
like.
that I didn't
And
agree with,
I will
but-
have to move my body just to not say my comment that's not requested. We're just sharing opinions. You take what you take, you leave what's not for you.
yeah,
Yeah.
I agreed, but he still carried on. So
Because it's kind of his
It's
podcast.
his
We kind of put
podcast,
ourselves in this
so,
position. So what
yeah.
we don't like, we don't like, and we take
but
what
if
we
I
take,
agree
we
on
leave.
it, then why do we still talk about it? I
That's
said
because
okay.
we're sharing opinions.
Well,
But
because you made a bunch of false claims. That's why.
All right. Okay.
Like, you like that's why I'm like challenging you. Oh well, you're being a jerk and you're being assertive on this podcast. Blah blah. Well, yeah, we have to control the platform to a degree so that we can have thoughtful discussion. If we didn't, people would just be talking over each other. There'd be no
Mhm.
order. There'd be no semblance of
organization, yeah.
what's going on. It would hurt the listeners' ears. Like, it's very interesting how. In anyway, I mean, this is a perfect example of like emotions right now. Like in the face of reality and facts. Oh, this makes me feel uncomfortable, so I'm going to say this and not be able to prove it.
if I can add, I think also keep in mind that some of the insulting things we're reading, it's not
Yeah,
him
it's not
saying it.
him.
He's
He's-
reading it from some of the people that are insulting us behind the screen.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind. It's not necessarily them saying that. That's at least how I cope with it.
I'm glad you're
Thanks.
here,
Yeah.
girl. You've been here more than once, so you know.
Listen, I'm reading with them, so
I mean, you could have
I
watched the show and
understand.
prepared yourself and
Yeah.
known too. It's not really an excuse.
I did. I watched
Just
it
watched
last
it.
week and I
Yeah.
didn't. I didn't like it.
Just don't read the comments.
yeah, if you're paying attention to that's
Don't
exactly
pay
why they
attention
say
to the
don't read
screen and you'll enjoy yourself.
Exactly.
So going back to what I was saying, so you can answer the question: who's the more respect, a man or a woman, when they're cheated on?
A woman would lose respect for her man.
Okay, so it sucks more when the guy gets cheated on.
Well, I think it sucks for a woman to get cheated on.
Okay. So
Okay,
that
but
was
who
it.
loses more respect from society by being cheated on, a man or a woman?
Men would probably applaud him, right?
I'm asking your opinion.
No, that's probably what you expect me to say. I don't know.
It's not about what I expect. It's about
It's
what's
about
your
what
opinion
you
in general.
think, not about what
I think
you
for
think he
me,
wants.
I think women now are waking up, and it would be embarrassing as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you?
Women lose more respect.
You think the woman loses more respect? Okay. What about you?
I believe the women lose, like, their respect is lost more due to societal standards. For example, like in this podcast, you were talking about, oh, like men, like, why can't we have more partners? We work for it, right? So, I mean, obviously, you didn't like that same idea with females. So, naturally, if she cheats,
Mhm.
she's seen way more negative than the man would because it's more applauded for the man to have multiple partners.
So who would lose status more by being cheated on, the man or the woman? By
The I thought the question was like who
the first question was, what's bigger form of treachery? And then the second one is, who loses more respect for being cheated on?
I mean, but society loses respect for the female. That's what I'm trying to say. Like,
Okay,
for the girl.
if she cheats on the guy.
Mhm.
Okay.
So the man.
Okay. So so this is what I think on this, and you guys, I'll turn it to you guys because we got to end this thing here soon. I think it's way more treacherous when a woman cheats on a man. And the reason for that is because women aren't designed necessarily to be promiscuous and be hoes. Some girls choose to do that, but in general, most girls would prefer not to do that if they could. There's a reason why a woman can only bring one child to term per year, but a man can bring hundreds of children to term per year. So I think it's a bigger form of treachery if a woman cheats on a man, right? And then on top of that, especially since they're not designed to necessarily be hoes. And then when a guy gets cheated on, he loses more respect because if a man gets cheated on by a girl, he fucked up. I blame the man when a girl cheats on him. And I'll tell you why. The man is a leader. If the girl cheated on him, more than likely he wasn't adequate in some kind of field, and she went looking for another male to fulfill that. So the man loses more status, which, going back to the original question, which I disagree with you on, you said a man should communicate that he doesn't trust women. I think that's very bad, because by him saying, oh, I was cheated on, I was hurt, what he's telling the woman is, I fucked up in some degree. She lost respect and attraction for me, and she went and fucked somebody else. That's how women interpret that. So it's actually very unattractive for a guy to sit there and say, oh, I got cheated on. It's not the same.
Naturally, it's unattractive for anybody to say that, but you preach about accountability all the time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, naturally, if she decides to cheat, you know, that's a fucked up thing to do. She's you know, that's a whole thing to do.
100%.
Yeah, but the man,
Yeah.
but again, see,
It's
here's-
not
There's
the
that
man's
underlying-
fault.
yeah,
you know,
it is.
if,
And I'll tell you
no.
why. The man is the leader. The man is the authority. So if the woman is no longer following his authority and his leadership, he fucked up.
No, he didn't fuck up. If you get cheated on, just leave and it's not your fault. You know, like you can mutually leave each other, you know. It doesn't like and I don't believe anybody has like more authority over the other person. If you want to go with a traditional type relationship, I'm all for it. Like I would do that as well, but
So you want a
No.
traditional relationship.
I would, you know. Yeah.
Congratulations. Most women want traditional relationships.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. The thing is
Nobody wants equal partnership like you're trying to argue for right now.
no, I mean like in the sense of like I can still have my career. You know, he does his own thing. I take care of the kids, but I still have my career. Like, you know, like
That's cool, but you still want him to make more money than you.
no. Like I really wouldn't mind being with a guy that has like less money, like that makes less than me. Like,
Stop the cap.
I'm serious. I'm
You're
serious.
18, man.
Yeah.
With all due
Yeah,
respect.
18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that way at 18.
Yeah, I
You'll-
did
you'll-
too, but
Yeah, you think that way until you start paying the mortgage, and you're gonna
Yeah.
just switch your
Yeah.
switch
Think
your
Think that
position
way
real
until
quick.
you really
It's-
start
I
paying
mean,
all your
like-
bills by yourself, no help.
And
I'm
it's-
not saying
And it's not that
It's
fun.
only so
Amen.
long you can show your booty hole.
Yeah.
I don't want somebody that's gonna make like 1,000 a month compared to me making 3,000 or 4,000. Like I want at least
So that proves my point.
1,000.
You don't want a guy making
you don't
less
want
money than you.
or a
I
lot less
want-
than you.
I want a decent amount like of difference,
don't know-
not
you
too
don't know what
much.
you want, man.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
You don't know what you want, man.
I want-
$11.99.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Shout out to the chat.
I
It's
mean,
okay. We're all learning.
the point I'm trying to make is that a man absolutely loses more status from being cheated on. If you look at Will Smith, his reputation is absolutely tarnished because his wife decided to be a slut.
Yep.
But on the other hand, you look at someone like Kobe Bryant cheated on his wife.
It's
She's
just
applauded to this day.
Jay-Z,
for sticking it
Jay-Z
through.
cheated on
And,
Beyonce.
yeah.
Beyonce.
Applauded to this day.
Because she
It's-
stayed
but
through his
Women
BS.
women don't lose status for their man cheating on them. And if anything, if they stay with them, they get respected and applauded even
Oh,
more.
yep.
But
Facts.
the other way
Because-
around,
Right.
when a man is cheated on, they lose an enormous amount of
I mean,
respect.
Yeah.
It's
I
fucked,
want to add
but
as
it's
well.
true.
You made a very good point earlier. Let people hang themselves. So
Yep.
get the benefit of the doubt at the very beginning, but watch them closely, give some time, and they'll tell you who they really are. And then from there, you know what? I'm not cool with this. I'm out. Peace.
Yeah.
And I mean,
That's
not, and
exactly
not
what
to
I said.
pick on you, Lithuania, but this is an example of what I mean when I say like women typically give very bad advice. Because the right thing to do is say, yeah, communicate, be open, like tell her your vulnerabilities, right? But I think that's a very destructive way to go because women can't handle the truth in general. I mean, think about it.
For the most part, yeah.
Like, I mean, hold on. Let's stop the show real quick. Think about this, right? A bunch of you on the panel are extremely uncomfortable at the moment. Why? Because we've had a pretty factual, truth-based conversation. And the reason why it's uncomfortable is because we've talked about some unflattering truths about female nature, how men perceive things, what men really think. And some of you are uncomfortable from it. And I think the reason why is because women rarely get told the truth in general. So I genuinely believe that women have a difficult time with accepting the truth. Communicating your vulnerabilities as a man will get you cheated on a lot of times, or a woman not respect you. Men are supposed to be strong and stoic, not confiding in a female with their most vulnerable situations.
Yep.
Anybody have anything for that? I don't know.
It's just
Agree,
like
disagree?
having the conversation. If you haven't like been through it, it's difficult to hear. But these are things that happen subconsciously in relationships, that you want this like power dynamic exchange. You don't need to talk about it with your man. Your man doesn't need to tell you I'm bigger than you, I'm more important than you, you're of less value. But if it's really something healthy that's going to work and it's something traditional that you're looking for, that dynamic is going to happen naturally.
Mhm.
And if that is the man for you, that you're going to follow it naturally. Like you're not going to have all these, additional conversations that don't feel good to have because